One Bro Speedrunners, Noobs and Leads, welcome once again, it's the Idiot Gamer Podcast! Hello, Andy Roberts.
Yo.
And Matthew Angel.
All right.
In the house, you're literally in my house.
Yes, we are.
I am in your house.
I never really thought about that before. When people say that in the house, in our case, in most situations when we're recording, it's actually true.
Yeah, although that has blown the myth that the Idiot Gamer is not run from some kind of massive corporate headquarters in the middle of
I think that
London.
people imagine that we do it basically from BBC TV Centre in a small radio studio.
Well, your house is a mansion with its own recording studio. So.
Yes, that's
true,
one way to view it.
In the West Wing.
In the West Wing. We're in the North Wing, technically.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
just it's only about 2 metres
That's all
deep.
right. I don't know my way around Reading, so I don't know what's north. So.
Well, what you do know is that we're into the final section of the World Cup of Games.
Yes, so what we're now up to the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinal.
The round of 8.
Round of 8 is correct.
I like the way you got that in before we could talk
Yeah,
with it.
that's right.
Bastards.
So, Matt, people, crazy as it sounds, people might have forgotten where we are with this situation.
Tell me it's not true.
Well, I think we should pay lip service to those people and remind them of who is in the quarterfinals and what it looks like.
Okay, so the first quarterfinal is Street Fighter 2 versus Uncharted 2. So there's only one winner there, and if it's not that winner, I'm storming out.
Okay.
The second one is Shadow of the Colossus versus Skyrim.
Fucking hell, right? Yeah, we're into the big boys, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Grand Theft Auto versus God of War. Grand Theft Auto 5, I need to.
Versus New God of War.
Versus New God of War.
Okay, good.
And the final big tie is Fortnite versus Overwatch.
Bloody hell! That's great jingle work there.
Yeah.
It's good.
He's got his deal on.
Crikey. Well, I don't even know what to say.
It's pretty brutal, this. I mean, we were saying this a lot in the last episode, weren't we? Like how difficult some of the ties were. They are now really difficult.
Yeah.
And there are going to be points where I think not only are we going to fall out with each other, I think we're going to potentially alienate a huge element of our listener base, both of them.
That is fine. They deserve it.
John's going to be furious.
They deserve some alienation. Who are they to judge?
Yeah, indeed.
So, what's the sitch, Matt?
We're going to do it like last time. So we each get a goal. I don't know who wants to start the first one. I think I should probably start because it's probably the only goal that Uncharted 2 is going to get. But looking at...
yes, it's the goal system I'd forgotten about.
Yeah. Looking at these ties, there's not a bad game in them at all.
No.
Whereas in the last round, there were some bad games. Okay. Well, not bad games, but...
And also in the quarterfinals of the World Cup in Russia, there were some bad games. So
that's true. So we're already one up on them.
Yeah.
What do they know?
Yeah, fuck you, Putin.
Right, let's get started with Street Fighter 2 versus Uncharted 2, and I'll start, and we'll go round the table.
Will you? Okay.
Yeah. I just think that at some point Uncharted 2 needs to be in the lead here. So,
there's a lot of political waiting. I can imagine at this point.
Yeah.
It's going to be a short-lived lead.
I love Uncharted 2. I've talked about it previously on the last rounds. I've just gushed about it. But the reason I'm going to put Uncharted 2 through rather than Street Fighter 2 is it is still a game I'd want to play. I don't play fighting games anymore. I don't find them that interesting, and they don't have that much depth to me.
What's the deal with Nathan Drake? Nathan Drake.
The greatest computer game character ever made.
Why? What's his deal?
He's a cheeky chappy.
I've played in Uncharted 4. It's quite funny because he's like, a little bit like focused on his own shit and not realizing what's going on around him. And during the game, he realizes that he's been a dick his whole life. Basically, that's Uncharted 4, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But
can't remember.
You've got all this whole storyline of him and Elena all the way through all 4 games, which is it's effectively the Ross and Rachel of computer games. It really is. Except they get together for most of the games, so it's not like they're constantly.
Is he or is he not a mass murderer?
No.
But he's killing dudes non-stop.
Okay, you don't go out and say, right, police who shoot criminals. Well, you do say that, I think.
Hey, this got political pretty quickly.
I appear to have fallen into a trap.
Where were you going with that one?
I was thinking about it, and then I
Crikey.
thought about American policemen, and then I thought they are murderers. So,
Yes, Jesus Christ. I made the mics pop with that. We need to be a bit careful there.
And also, we need to get our lawyers onto this.
Matt, what? Okay, let me go back.
how far back do we want to go?
I'm going to go back to the bit where I said, is Nathan Drake a mass murderer?
No.
Why not, though? He wanders around
Yeah.
having a laugh, lording it up in
Moving
all parts of the
boxes.
world, shoving boxes around where
Right.
they don't need to be shoved, and then shooting henchmen in the face.
Right.
That's what he does.
Henchmen, exactly. They're evil, right?
No.
Okay. So that's okay.
Do you remember that brilliant cutaway in Austin Powers where they did like the home life of that henchman?
Yeah.
That was ace.
There's a load of good stuff in the Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff as well,
Oh,
where,
yeah,
where
nice.
they're talking about those. But can we just solve this box pushing thing once and for all?
They couldn't solve it. Naughty Dog couldn't solve it. So I don't know what we're going to do.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's very little box
It
pushing.
is in every single level of the game.
It's not normally a box. It's normally like a stone or something.
Well, stone object. Let's call them
A
object.
cubular object.
Yeah, a cube-like
That is,
object.
it happens to be just large enough
Yeah.
for you to be able to get up onto it, and then just the upper reaches of your jump limits. It just happens
Andy,
to.
I'm trying to get over that bridge there, and I can see some very useful vines at the top of it, but I just can't get there. What should I do?
Well, luckily, just over here, if you walk around, there is a prominent and looking slightly out of place large cubular stone.
Is it going to be so heavy I can't move it?
No, you'll just be able to move it, and there
nice.
happen to be just some kind of hand-holdy areas. To be
Perfect.
To be fair, what we are actually doing is ripping all video games.
Yes, that is true. But especially Uncharted. I mean, 4 was much worse for the box pushing than 2. I'll grant you that much. But yeah, this is, and I'm not just talking about Nathan Drake, because basically for Nathan Drake, you can just read Lara Croft,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Because he's just the male Lara Croft. And all he does is go around shooting people. Everyone seems fine with it. Same with Lara. She's like, it's Lara Croft, so it's all right that she's allowed to shoot these dudes in the face.
No,
all the
but
time.
she's a member of the aristocracy, so she can.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Actually, she has got dispensation, hasn't she?
It's basically a representation of the feudal system.
Yeah, that's right. She's clearing decks, isn't she?
But I'm going to go back to where we were. Uncharted 2, amazing set pieces. The storyline throughout is fantastic. They introduced Chloe Fraser, who was a very strong sort of... It was almost another love interest until Elena appears again. It had that nice sort of arc to it.
Was the train thing in Uncharted 2?
Yes.
Because that was fucking brilliant.
Let's be
honest.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't play all the way through that game because I got quite bored quite quickly, and I got quite bored quite quickly by the because it was kind of flagged as this wonderful cinematic experience,
Yeah.
and then there was all this wonderful cinematic stuff was just loaded up with quick time events. Oh, press circle quickly, press square quickly.
But that's just to add some player agency to the cutscenes.
But we
basically,
flagged
isn't
quick
it?
time events in other episodes of this
That's
podcast.
true, yeah.
I must admit, I didn't find that, but I maybe misremembered.
There are cutscenes in the. Well, sorry, there are quick times in the cutscenes.
To be fair, it's not a prominent part of the game. It happens in the game, but it's not a prominent part of the game. But I think the cinematic bits
Yeah.
involve that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What was the storyline of 2?
Right, 2. So he starts off into... Do I have to go through the whole thing?
No, just give us the overview.
Effectively, he's trying to find... I think it's...
The Jade Monkey.
No, there's some sort of magical kingdom. I can't remember what it's called because my memory is terrible.
Neverland.
No, that was clearly
Jackson's
Michael Jackson's ranch. Yeah, I can't remember, but effectively they had to try and find this mystical place, and it was just set piece after set piece, which was fantastic.
Is his brother involved in that one? or not?
No, his brother was only in 4. But you've got all the interactions with Sully, you've got all the interactions with Elena.
Sully's good, to be fair.
And it was just wonderful. The strongest storyline of the game. There is only one problem with it, which is the final boss, where they've never done final bosses well, which was quite nice in the sort of 4th one where they just gave up completely and didn't have
What
one.
are the bosses?
So there was a big guy with a shaven head in 2. I want to think he's called Volstock, but I don't think he is. I think that might be like Metal Gear Solid or something. But
I generally dislike bosses in all games. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, no, I do.
You know, the most annoying one was that bastard from Gears of War on the back of that train.
Yeah.
It took like 45 minutes just shooting bullets. Like, fuck off, mate.
Or every single encounter on Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
I wouldn't know because I never even
Yeah.
played
No,
it.
no, don't do that. But
Don't do that.
I like bosses in Zelda games, proper Zelda games,
Mm-hmm.
like where you've got to use your new tool that you've got to beat the boss and stuff. But
Yeah.
and by that same thing, Darksiders, because
Darksiders, there's a mensch.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think we've ever mentioned that game on the show before.
like the first two Darksiders are amazing, and the third one I'm very excited because
Aren't they a bit Dark Souls-y?
no, they're Zelda-y.
Oh, okay.
But, like, they're effectively 3D Zeldas, but effectively they came out on PS4 because like there weren't any Zelda games on PS4, so they sort of like did that sort of thing,
Right,
but with the
okay.
4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and they're brilliant games because it's exactly that thing that I like about Zelda, which is that you start off with very few skills and you can go to certain areas and then you get a new skill and that opens up another area where you use that skill a lot. So it's really, really good.
So to recap, your goals for Street Fighter 2.
So to recap, because I have no interest in fighting games anymore, and Uncharted 2 is the greatest game of all time. It's Uncharted 2
Jesus
for me.
Christ. Greatest game of all time, Andrew Roberts.
To be fair, he says that all the time, though.
That
I
is
mean,
true.
like,
This is-
barely a week goes past without him
Yeah, that is
claiming
true.
Uncharted 2 is the
Although he
greatest
also
game of all
claims
time.
Skyrim's the best game of all
No,
time.
I don't. Like, I always say Uncharted 2 is the greatest game. Skyrim is the most... well, I'll get onto this.
So, Andy, what are you going to do?
Are we
What
going to
you
go? Should we going to go around that way? This
I
time,
don't
are we?
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's go anti-clockwise. Then
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, you know, Uncharted's all right, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's fine.
Kills a couple of hours.
Yeah, but Street Fighter 2. I mean, we mentioned this in the previous one. It is a iconic game of an era. It is a massive arcade.
Wish I had a
hit.
Hadouken like sound, but I haven't got one.
No, we can. Let's do Mario dying. No. So it's just massive arcade smash. It came out on the Super Nintendo. I mean, admittedly that was Turbo Edition, but it came out on Super Nintendo and was an absolute like masterstroke. It was so well executed on that console, and it became one of the iconic games for that console as well, didn't it? Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo was one of its really, really big hitters. I remember the big chat between Super Nintendo and Mega Drive owners. So Mega Drive owners did
Give
not
Andy a
get...
bit of a backing track.
I like that. Mega Drive owners didn't get a copy of Street Fighter 2 for a really, really, really long time. And they had Turbo Edition on the Super Nintendo. And Mega Drive, I was a Mega Drive owner by this point, and we coveted Street Fighter 2 so much. We were so furious. And they started bringing out Championship Edition on the
Yes,
Mega Drive.
yes.
And everybody was fucking furious because they didn't have the Turbo thing, which was just the extra 5 stars of speed that you could put onto the game. But also you could access the bosses from the outset, and all of these tiny different
right.
and there was all this outcry from Mega Drive owners that they didn't get so then they did Special Championship Edition, because I assume there was all kinds of politics going on about, you know, what they'd promised Nintendo or what, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Capcom selling people out left, right and centre probably, but nevertheless it was of its age one of the, I mean, it was the greatest game of its age and is one of the greatest games of all time, just in terms of the impact that it had on the landscape of video gaming. You're right, I wouldn't play it again anymore. I have no interest in fighting games anymore. Agree with all of that, but Uncharted 2 cannot say any of those things about it. It's just a decent platformer.
Who's your favourite character from Street Fighter?
I was a really boring, miserable bastard, and I played it Ken
Oh,
most
for
of the time.
goodness sake.
Although I did for quite a long time, played Dal Sim, and I got pretty good with Dal Sim.
That's because you sit in a corner just firing his leg out.
Yep, basically, yeah.
Dhalsim was dead
I've
easy,
got
wasn't he?
3 favourite characters. Blanca was amazing.
I hated people who played Blanca.
With the electrical thing.
Yeah, they would pin you in the corner and do the electric fizz.
Yeah.
And they would
Yeah,
just...
yeah.
I just do the roll all the time. It's good.
Yeah, the roll was quite annoying also.
E Honda and
Oh, I see another one. 100 hand. Which edition was it? I think it was Turbo Edition, where you could move.
Yeah,
With the 100. That was fucking
rubbish.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
In fact,
yeah.
I'm taking my goal away from Street Fighter 2 just because of that.
you're not going to like my next choice, which is Chun Li. So
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, I like Chun-Li. I'll let you have that.
I just want to have a
I'll let you
listen
that.
here.
Okay, be aware we need to talk about it
It's
over
pretty
it
good,
because
isn't it?
Nintendo will sue us and have copyright strikes. So, because Nintendo, they are the most litigious company outside of Disney.
They really are.
They,
Aren't
they are.
They don't like it.
No, not at all.
Well,
That's why I'm talking.
It's them and Apple and Samsung, but they only sue each other.
Yes.
So
Except they seem to have stopped that now. Like that nonsense seemed to have
Oh, that's
stopped like
good
2 or
then.
3 years ago. But
That's good.
Now it's Fortnite versus PUBG.
yeah.
So what are you doing then?
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, very straightforward. A goal for Street Fighter 2.
A goal for Street Fighter 2. So
It's 1-1. 1 apiece. It's all to play for.
here's all to play for. Now, I don't really have a dog in the fight here, to be perfectly honest. Street Fighter 2 is fine. I mean, the problem. Let me just adjust my microphone here for a second. The problem
That is the problem.
with Street Fighter 2 is that it's a fighting game,
Yes.
That's the problem. and they're generally a bit shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Street Fighter 2 wasn't a bit
And
shit.
Street Fighter 2 is not Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast.
He's right, it's not.
Fucking hell.
Soul Calibur on the
That is a
Dreamcast.
major
Yeah.
problem for me.
No.
Because
well,
Soul
yeah,
Calibur
all right,
on the
but
Dreamcast,
you're-
fucking amazing.
You're not Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast, so
never
are
claimed
you
I
shit
was.
as well? Like-
Yes, in
Okay,
comparison.
okay, all right,
in
fine.
comparison to Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast.
Yes. Well, you're not Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast. either.
So what? You hate me as well? I hate you all. Sorry, go on, carry on.
Look,
got dark.
Look. I think if this had been Soul Calibur, I'd have had a debate. I'd have had a problem. Because that game was awesome and could eat shitloads of time. Yes, Street Fighter 2 is very important in inverted commas.
I don't inverted commas it.
I'm
It
going
fucking is
to
important.
inverted commas it.
Oh, come on.
You're clipping as well. They were all getting very excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that Dead Mario? I can't
Yes,
remember.
it is,
Mario?
Shall I take,
I don't know why I said Mario.
shall I take the soundboard off it?
I just not that bothered. Like Street Fighter's pretty cool, I suppose.
Oh, come on.
But if I had to pick right now to go downstairs and play a game, whether it was Street Fighter, oh god,
I got excited.
Matt's got well excited and unplugged himself. Jesus Christ, we can't control ourselves, boys.
My
If I was
stomach's
to-
rumbling as well, so
Yeah,
that might come
okay.
across on the.
Matt
Yeah,
was-
I got so excited that I thought Si was going to vote for Uncharted 2 that I ripped my microphone out of the wall.
So I was about to say before that happened that if I was to go downstairs right now and play a game of those two, it would be Uncharted 2.
Yeah, but that's not what we're voting on here.
Well, it's what
We're not-
I'm voting
well,
on.
No, hang on. This isn't the World Cup of games we quite fancy playing right at the minute.
Well, what are my criteria then? No, I'm not going to ask you that because I have my own fucking criteria. And I decide that a goal goes to Uncharted 2.
Yes! Get
So
in!
there you have it.
How much money has Matt paid you to put that game
Well,
through?
we shall see. He owes me one for later in this thing. Basically.
Oh, this is block voting. That's what's going on here.
No, my biggest worry is that he wants to see what happens when you get Skyrim up against Uncharted 2.
Oh, now that will be exciting.
I'm abstaining.
Right, what's up next?
Right, up next, starting with Andrew Roberts, is Shadow of the Colossus versus Skyrim, and I think I know where this
I thought
is
you were
going.
going to say Shinobi then.
Oh yeah, Shinobi. Like,
Well, Skyrim's a bang of shit.
Wow. Calm down.
No, Shadow of Colossus. I spoke about it at length in the
You
last
did.
edition. It's a magnificent game. Skyrim, give it absolute amazing credit for the scope of that game and how unbelievably immersive it was, and it gave you the freedom to go off and do all of those things. Personally, I got a bit bored pretty quickly by it, but I appreciate the scope of that video game. But for me, the beauty and the originality of Shadow of the Colossus comes through. So it is a goal to Shadow of the Colossus.
A Shadow of the Colossus. It just sounds great, doesn't it?
It does.
It just
it's
sounds
a wonderful
brilliant.
game. It really, really is.
Is it as good as we all remember?
Shadow of the Colossus, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
I know we all played the remaster like
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I enjoyed it less than I did 2 consoles ago, but I
What was it
have
on PS2?
PS2 and then
Yeah.
PS3 and then PS3. I played it through on all of those consoles. I've enjoyed it less each time, admittedly, but nevertheless, First time round, I was just utterly blown away by it as a
What's the
video
name of the
game.
fella?
Argo? No, that's the
No,
horse.
it's the
isn't
horse, yeah.
That was.
Does he have a name?
I don't think he does.
What's the name of the horse then? Argo.
Argo.
Yeah.
That was that fella from not Shawshank Redemption.
I know you.
Goodwill
mean.
Hunting.
Yeah. And Batman.
Yeah.
And
Affleck.
And yeah, that's
Affleck.
right. Yeah. He directed it as well.
He's just got a big head. That man. He's like big. I grant you, but he's also one of those people that just has a large head.
He's got quite a big face, and
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not, but he's got a Canadian style large features.
Muscle.
Yeah.
Muscle.
Maybe it's just because he's next to Matt Damon all the time that it just
Yeah.
in comparison.
Yeah, that's true. He's kind of squatty in his
Yeah.
head, isn't he?
I don't know.
They're a funny bunch.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Side note.
Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, it's fine, isn't it? It's all right.
I'm thinking a lot of games are fine.
There's a lot
today.
of this like downgrading iconic and mesmerising video games.
I just realised that we're in a tough situation here, and I don't want to get too excited.
I must admit, Shadow of the Colossus is a hard game, so Sai's not going to like it.
That's true.
Yeah,
It doesn't have easy mode.
yeah.
It wasn't as hard as everybody made out.
No,
Climb
indeed.
up the monster, stab it in the thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Or catch it when it's flying.
great
or,
ending.
just
Great ending.
phenomenal.
Brutal.
Yeah, anyone who talks
You question
about,
yourself, don't you? You question your
Yeah,
own,
yeah,
your
yeah.
own soul
it's
afterwards.
brilliant.
What have I done? Am I the monster? That's the question.
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
you are.
That's what I learned at the end of Shadow of the Colossus. What I learned from playing Skyrim is a bloody fun time for all to be had. Non-stop fun.
Well, it stopped pretty quickly when it became a repetitive trawl through another dungeon to clear out the monsters.
Dungeons? What are you doing in dungeons?
Well, you know what I mean, like another area of monsters.
Get up on the
to
top of the
clear.
mountains. Fly
Yeah.
with the dragons, my friend.
And the best thing to do on mountains is to climb up the ones you can't by just spamming the jump button until you actually
Yeah.
glitch your way up the mountain.
Yeah, you can eventually sort of
Yeah.
shimmy your way up there.
So you're trying to convince me it's the best game
Yeah.
ever because it's shit and glitchy.
One time, right, I was just wandering around doing my Skyrim thing, and I'm wandering around having a good time, and I find at the top of this mountain somewhere like a small temple. I just didn't know what it was. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I go inside, explore a few little bits and bobs, and I open something, and it's like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then when it the screen flashes, and when I reappear, I am thousands of feet in the air, staring down across of all of Tamriel.
Amazing.
And there's the voice of this god talking to me, telling me some mad, fantastical bullshit. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. And that wasn't even a side quest. It was just a random little thing that happened in the game. It was fucking great.
I had a similar thing where quite early on I went up a mountain and I found a box and I opened it and a dragon priest came out and he absolutely whooped me.
Those dragon priests were fucking badass.
Yeah,
Talking of glitches, one of my favourite moments in Skyrim, when I was just getting started, I wandered into a cave that was obviously way too high level for me, and I battle a few drogs or whatever, and I get through there, and then there's a dragon priest, and I'm like, oh shit, and there he was, and he had the mask on, and I'm like, I want that fucking mask, because the dragon priest masks give you fucking awesome powers.
Yeah, amazing.
So I'm in there and I'm like, fuck, how am I going to beat this guy? So I take him on and he absolutely destroys me. And I'm like, shit, how much am I going to have to grind to beat this guy? So I go away, I grind, I come back and I try it a few times. And then it's still really difficult, even though I've been working hard to beat this guy. And then he just sort of stopped. And I was shooting him from this angle and he just kind of stopped. And I was like, hold on a minute. Yeah. And I stayed there for 25 minutes shooting my really low-powered spells at him until he died. And I was like, I realise this is bullshit and I realise this is boring, but I'm doing it because at the end of it, I'm going to get that fucking Dragon Priest mask. And you know what? I did, and I put it on my face, and it was amazing.
I love the idea that you were like a small child beating up a grown man because the grown man is asleep or something.
Exactly, yeah, that's pretty much what it was. But I got that fucking mask, and then I infused it with all kinds of charms or whatever. What was it? What are they? Runes.
Well done for earning that mask.
I fucking did earn it, my friend. I earned it with patience. That's what I earned it with.
Patience and a broken game not fit for the market.
And then I worked out, because I was a bit stupid to begin with the old Skyrims. I'm moving my microphone thing again. In that I didn't really understand how all of the runes and the enchantments and all that shit worked until I did. And you know what it was? It was maths, Andy. It was maths.
Yeah.
That's what did
Oh,
it.
now you're enticing me in.
Exactly.
Another bit of homework.
Yeah, now we're getting very excited.
Learning with Bethesda.
Yeah, because I realised that using the power of maths, I could enchant all of my shit to such a level that I could have like unlimited mana, and then I could walk around shooting fireballs in people's faces without having to ever drain my mana. Is fucking great. So then I went on a mission to find out exactly how I could make everything as OP as possible. So I got the best armor, and then I enchanted it with all the best shit, and then by the end of it, I could not be killed by conventional methods, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds boring. It just sounds like a grind.
It was great.
God.
It was a grind, but it was a good grind.
I've got some plans for our RPG.
To send me on a 6-week quest to find some armour.
Oh, you get to Driftwind, and there's a maths competition.
To be fair, I was shit hot at maths, so that's fine.
There you go. Well, you'd be pretty good at Skyrim then.
We need a calculator, though.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's legit, though. Everyone else has done the pre-calculator work.
Yeah.
You should be able to use the calculator to further science.
I'm brilliant in maths, shit at mental arithmetic.
I agree.
I think that's
same.
fine.
Well,
If
I could use
calculators
Excel,
exist.
so I don't need to be
Right,
good
exactly,
at maths.
exactly.
No one needs
It's
to be
like
good
at
at
school
maths.
where they said, well, you can't use a calculator. Why not? People have invented them. It's like
Well, to be fair, A-level maths, you use calculator all the time.
no,
Like,
exactly.
You
But
have
it's,
to use that sin and cosine
Yeah,
button,
yeah.
though. Don't know what the fuck.
it's
it is.
like-
trigonometry.
it's
Oh,
like doing
God.
like cooking or something, and then going, you can't use the oven. I'm like,
The only thing that ever was useful for trigonometry was in Lost, because he was always triangulating his position, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was always using some kind of maths to work out where he
No, I
was.
didn't watch that because it was shit.
I watched the
It
first
was
series.
shit.
First series was
Oh
excellent.
yeah, first 2 or 3 series, fucking great.
First series, second series, garbage, and I
Was
gave
the
up.
second? No, I
after
thought the second was all right.
it. No,
I got into I think I got to episode 6 of the first series when it was clear they didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing.
No,
still,
that is the
so-
problem. I blame Fox for that. Well, they're to blame for a lot of things.
Spoiler alert, and
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a spoiler or not.
I
But
think Lost
my-
nearly came out like 15 years ago.
Okay.
So.
I lost interest when I realised that the big growl on the island wasn't going to be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
No, like, as soon as I found out it wasn't going to be a dinosaur, I was like, right, I'm out.
I never thought it would be a dinosaur.
Well,
I thought monster.
you
maybe.
you need imagination, Si, because if you imagine that's a dinosaur, that makes Lost
Well,
so much better.
You know, your imagination ran wild whilst roaming the plains and mountains of Tamriel in Skyrim.
It certainly did.
It was fucking brilliant.
I'm going to give you a goal for Skyrim.
Goal for
because I got the feeling-
Skyrim. Yes.
Right, I love both of these games so much. These are the only 2 games that I have bought 3 times. I've bought both of these games 3 times. So,
You're an absolute mark.
well, maybe, but I have enjoyed them both 3 times. So,
Thrice.
Thrice.
yeah. But yeah, so Shadow of the Colossus, I obviously bought the original, then I bought the remaster, and then I bought the remaster. So it was the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus on the PS3, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
I got that because I'd never
Double
played
header.
Ico, so I played that. But I got more excited about Shadow of the Colossus again, and I've played it all 3 times, and I loved it. It's a wonderful game. The story's fantastic. It's beautiful. You feel sympathy for these colossi.
Colossi.
Big
And
fellas.
yeah, it's just wonderful. Skyrim, I bought it originally. I then bought the remaster. Then I bought it on the Switch. All 3 are great. I have done different things every single time on Skyrim. Each 3 times, whereas on Shadow of the Colossus, I've done the same thing 3 times.
I will give Skyrim the ludicrous flexibility to do what the fucking hell you like.
So
All credit to that.
I'm really sad that I'm going to have to do this, but Shadow of the Colossus is going to have to go. And I talked about we got some Shadow of the Colossus music, but I talked about the fact that Uncharted is my favourite game, but that is a 12-hour intense period of game, whereas Skyrim is the most immersive game I have ever played. But unlike Si, I didn't play it with maths. I played it because in one hand I could have fire shooting out of it, in the other one I could have ice shooting out of it, and I could just make myself really powerful doing that. And I found an underground pirate ship. So quite frankly, Skyrim's getting it, but I cannot overstate how great Shadow of the Colossus is. This is the first game that I'm truly sad has gone out, because it does not deserve to go out at any stage, but it's just the fact that it's up against Skyrim. I would have had
Great music also.
I would have had worse problems choosing between Uncharted 2 and Shadow of the Colossus, even though Uncharted 2 is my favourite game. Because if you said to me now, which one do you want to go down and play, I'd probably want to play Shadow of the Colossus because it's more chill.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Skyrim, love it.
Wow, 2 horses out of this game already. It's bad news for me.
Right, Si, would you like to start us off? I don't know what you're going to play for this one.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 5 versus God of War.
I know.
You're just going to play Trevor crying or something?
No. I'm just gonna do this because GTA 5. One of the things that made it really good is that it did have fucking great music.
Yes, it did.
And I believe this was one of them.
Okay, you definitely can't play the whole thing, and we need to talk over it.
No, yeah, I've forgotten. I think it was called. Was it called this?
I don't know. Can't see what you're typing. So I'm just going to keep padding
Yeah, I think so.
whilst I'm trying to look something up on his
It's
computer.
fine, this fella.
Does this have bad language?
I remember when this would come on, right? Because I'd be like tooling around in my car, and this would
Yeah.
come on. And it would feel pretty fucking badass.
Like you know the amazing sunsets that you always got and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
It was pretty cool, and I think one of the things that made GTA 5 especially so good was that it tied up all of these little game modes and all these other little things that were so good in other GTA games and other open world games, but it perfected all of them.
Yes,
like
it did.
everything was fucking cool. So you would have like really, really good driving stuff, really good like air stuff
Yeah.
as well, and you would have seamless like interaction between all those different types of missions.
And like the interplay between like yourself and like the NPCs and stuff like that was also seamless just when they're wandering around.
Yeah. What was the other game?
Does it matter? Does it matter, Si? It's God of War.
God of War. Okay, new God of War. Yeah. Obviously, GTA 5 is going to win this, but I'll talk about it a little bit more because I don't know how deep we went into GTA 5 last time. I don't know. Can't
We've
remember.
talked about it at length in
We probably- we
multiple
probably have.
podcasts, not just the World Cup
Yeah,
ones.
that is
but-
true. It's fucking brilliant. That's why. Doesn't it have a cameo from? Doesn't Ricky Gervais do a cameo in it as a stand-up comic, which is also random?
That
Possibly, yeah. I don't know.
There were
It's
so
got a
many
lot-
little
it's got
things.
A lot of
It's
cameos.
depth, right? That's the other
Yeah.
thing. Like even little thing, like you can walk into this comedy club, but it's actually like a new piece of recorded content from a professional
Yeah.
stand-up. Little things like that. The DLC was also fucking good. Gay Bobby, right, was fucking brilliant as well. No, Ballad of Gay Tony. I can't remember what it
That was 4.
was that
That
4?
was 4. There was never any DLC.
Oh
for
no, you're
5.
right. There was no story mode.
Yeah.
There was no story DLC
good,
for 5.
good
was
work,
there?
Rockstar. None of this story DLC.
That is fuck off. That was great. I just said how great it was, and it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but that was on 4, not on 5.
I know it was still good.
No, but 5 didn't release any, instantly making it better than 4.
Right. That's Matt logic.
Yep.
That is the Matt logic for no DLC.
Yep.
Did you see there is DLC coming out for God of War after you
okay.
you were so
Oh,
angry
man, I
about
like
the
that.
very
Yeah, that was-
idea?
that was-
Have you seen what that DLC is?
I have not seen. What it
Okay,
is.
it gives you different ways of fighting the same enemies.
What?
Yeah, it's not extra content. It's like you can fight these.
Well, you must
enemies.
like that because I thought you were anti-content. I thought you didn't want the new content.
I don't want the new content. I don't
want the new
No,
content.
I don't give a shit about this. Like literally, it just means that enemies will act in different ways.
Well,
and
no,
stuff
that does
like
sound
And
shit,
It's
to be
like,
fair.
yeah.
Is it those finishing moves that you can do?
Okay.
Is it different ones of those?
Finishing move.
Well, you know, like
Yeah,
like
but-
when they're dazed and then you press the square button, you
Oh,
rip their
yeah,
spine
that was
out
pretty
and
good.
I
stuff.
think so,
Yeah.
but they're trying to say it's more variation because the enemies act differently, so they'll have different attacks as well.
Right,
And it's
okay.
like I don't care.
No, I'm not bothered about that. I would
Okay,
like a
then
story.
that
I would
good.
like a more story DLC about what's her name, the lady,
Oh,
and a giant tortoise.
yeah.
Oh, the witch
I'd like a
lady.
backstory, more
Tree Witch.
Yeah, more backstory about Tree Witch.
Jenny-
Would be
Jenny
nice
Tree
for me.
Witch.
Jenny Tree Witch.
Okay, if they do backstory, I'm okay with that.
Oh
no.
you're all over the shop.
I don't want anything that progresses that storyline.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, when we get round to my turn, I will ask a very important question.
you know what's good about God of War?
Yes, I know many of the things that are good about God
The
of War.
fighting.
Yes.
Fighting's
The
really
story,
good.
the
Story's really
graphics.
good. Graphics are good. Audio's great.
Yeah.
Little kid's all right.
The story mode doesn't
For a kid.
outlast its welcome.
I didn't even do the Valkyries. I didn't even do
No,
them.
I didn't. I just played the story mode
Didn't
and loved
even
it.
bother with them.
No, I'm the same. I did none of the side stuff.
I
None
could
of
go
it at
back
all.
and do them now, I suppose.
I haven't done
Can't be
the side
arsed.
stuff. I don't care about it, and I still love that game. I still think it's
I like the
amazing.
big snake.
Oh, the World Snake.
The world
Yeah.
snake was pretty fucking
Yeah.
good.
He's good. I liked it when you're in his belly.
Yeah, he was a good
Spoiler.
lad. You know, it was also good.
What's that?
Trevor, just everything that Trevor ever did.
He's a wrong un.
He's fucking
He really
brilliant.
is.
You know what makes it really good in 5 is that usually in all the other ones you would go around just shooting random people. In 5, unless I was doing a story mission, I would always play as Trevor because it justified the mayhem because he was just a crazy fucker. So it never felt as bad just causing mayhem as Trevor because it's like, that's just what he does.
My favourite things about Trevor is you'd be walking down the street and he would like randomly swear aggressively at a passerby for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
Just
he was super aggressive to everybody. It was fantastic. I love things with Trevor, and also like I loved the Michael missions themselves.
Yeah.
And when I played the Michael missions, I tried not to kill anybody, like his story missions.
Yes.
I would always like drive around like I was a normal person. So rather than tearing through the streets, I'd just be like, I'm just driving because I'm a normal guy.
Yep.
I'm a regular dude.
I'm going to stick to the speed limit and drive to the letter of the law.
Do you remember the first time you were playing like a story mission thing, and you're Michael or Franklin or whatever, and you're driving around, and then it and cuts you over, and all of a sudden you drop in to Trevor, and you're like,
Yeah, something's happening.
video games.
Yeah, yes,
So
you're absolutely
good.
right.
It
I'd
was so
forgotten
good.
about because it'll do that. It'll suck you up,
Yeah,
and then,
drop
and then
you
move
back
you
in.
across, and then you'd like zoom down on top of the guy. He's about to do something bad.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good. Oh, amazing. Yeah, everything about GTA 5, fucking brilliant.
Okay. I'm going to upset you both now.
I
going
assume
up.
that's a goal, then, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. I need to ask how, like, we've all played God of War now.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the plot?
Right. Do you want to do a major spoiler warning? Turn your fast forward 2 minutes.
2
and we'll
minutes.
talk
So
about
I've got
spoilers.
2 minutes. To,
Yeah.
I'm not going to last that long, but
Okay. That's what he said.
with
To
the
be fair, that's
spoilers-
quite a long time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
2 minutes. Fucking hell.
So, God of War, the reason I don't want extension of that story is the way that they left it was perfect. So you've got, I think it's Freya, isn't it? That's the name of the witch.
That's Jenny Tree Witch.
And then you've got Baldur, who is her. You find out quite late on that,
Baldur.
that he's her son. And there's that real sort of like thing about the fact that she's made him immortal because
Yeah.
she cares so much about him, and that is his one curse.
Yeah.
And effectively, she actually like
It's a dick move, to be fair.
Yeah, and but she cares so much about him, and that whole part of the storyline was just one of the most emotional things. And the fact that she's declared war on Kratos,
Yeah.
is something that I
Sequel!
well, I don't want that in DLC. I don't want them to do like they could do something else, granted, but the idea that she is just gonna unleash on them needs to be the focus of an entire game because
Yes.
it's all about her coming to terms with her vengeance towards them.
It's pretty fucking cool.
This is the whole thing, the reason that I am going to give a goal to God of War, because throughout that whole
It's like we're in GTA 5 now
Yeah.
with those sirens.
throughout that whole storyline, I was so invested in every single moment. And with GTA 5, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really feel any kinship with the characters.
And to be fair, that's not easy, is it?
And that means, like, you know, Trevor, everyone loves him because he's outrageous, but I was just like, oh, he's not a nice piece of work.
No,
And
he's a
like
nasty
none of them
bastard.
are actually like nice pieces
No,
of
they're all
work.
terrible.
And whereas, like, I felt for, like, Freya had done this horrible thing, but I felt for her. I really did. And you can understand her vengeance and you can understand that. So,
Yeah.
it's got to be God of War for me. I understand that Grand Theft Auto 5 as a game as a whole is a much better game in terms of the thing. But in terms of the emotions that I felt when I played it, God of War is
I didn't
significantly
feel any
better.
emotions playing GTA 5 except
Yeah. Joy.
humour,
Joy.
joy,
Yeah.
and rage.
No, but in terms of an intense emotional feeling, God of War just gave me the real feels, and I've got to give it a goal for that. I don't think it's going to go through, so I don't feel as bad for voting against Grand Theft Auto 5, but on an emotional level, that game was absolutely superb for the story mode, and that's why I don't want any, DLC for it.
So,
Unless
but
it's-
just say no more spoilers because
No,
our 2
indeed.
minutes are up, so they're
Yeah.
back.
Fantastic.
Welcome
Thanks,
back.
Andy.
You couldn't put a hooker in your little boat in God of War, do the business, and then kill her and take the money back.
That's true,
That's true.
Yeah.
but that's not what I'm voting on. you use your
Just
own
saying,
thing.
it's a unique
Just-
feature.
For everybody who's been away, who skipped the spoilerific content,
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to recap who you've given your vote to?
God of War, because it made me so emotional around that storyline. It was such a wonderful story, and it made me feel for the characters.
Okay, so there we go. Goal for so it's one apiece, all to
One
play for.
all.
So God of War, I wasn't at all bothered by it. You guys kind of convinced me with your positive speak about it, so I played it. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a terrific game. I loved, and this is something you mentioned in a couple of episodes ago, Si, how seamless everything is together.
Yeah.
So quite early on, you find, I can't remember which character it is, but he's the guy who can't be killed.
Baldur.
But is that Baldur? Yeah. So quite early on, you fight this guy, and at no point does it there's no point does the game go, right, stop, oh look, here comes the boss, and then you kind of move into boss mode. The whole thing is really seamless, and it kind
The whole thing was great as well because it cut between sort of mini cutscenes during the combat. It's so cool.
And I love that because those cutscenes during the combat they all flowed into each other, and they were furthering the story whilst you were fighting.
It was great characterization as well because you were learning that although Kratos, in the past, you'd seen him as all powerful and everything, he was getting beaten up, and he was getting tired, and he was still winning. But it's Kratos; he must obviously win.
I mean, if you compare that to the original God of War games, in the first God of War game, the first and the second, all of them actually, you start off hugely powerful and you're just wiping out huge numbers of enemies. In this, he's having trouble with the first man he goes up against.
So all of that just wonderfully orchestrated, beautifully pieced together, and just incredibly powerfully playable. It works so well for a game of that kind of a big 3D game like that. For it to be as playable as it is a huge achievement, whilst not showing any lines whatsoever. No. It worked really well.
They committed to this one shot thing, and it was very good.
It worked really well. My minor criticisms I felt with that game was even after it, because it starts off linear and then it opens up to a bit more of a free roamer. Even during those positions, the way the levels and the scenery are created, there is very much sort of nice kind of rockery scenery. Oh, but you can't climb up there.
Yes,
and and there are very clear, kind of very straight paths
you're in
through the scenery. And that just occasionally just dropped me out of the game a little bit because it's quite an immersive video game, and because the story is so wonderful, so wonderfully written, so wonderfully the dialogue is wonderful, it's amazingly acted, it's beautifully executed like that, but little tiny bits of the gameplay occasionally dropped me out of that. Sure. But small parts, and that is a very small minor gripe with that game. But yeah, terrific video game. But it has not got a fucking hope in hell against Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's right.
Because for all the things I was saying, plus 100,000 more, it is. And I've said this before, it's a genuine, legitimate masterpiece. I think I enjoyed my time within that game more than any other video game I think I've ever done. And on so many different levels, it offers so many different things. It's incredible. And I just think it's... I cannot understand how they're going to better that. I really don't.
I think I've mentioned this before. When I played it back on the PC when I got my new PC because I wanted to see how high I could max out all the graphics and everything else. And I did all that, and then I ended up playing through the entire story mode again, in 4K with all the high-res textures and everything. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. This is as good as video games are today, and this game's 5 years old. Yeah. It's so good.
It was
the final mission's fantastic as well.
And it's just one of the most beautifully kind of rendered video games. It's just everything about the world was so beautifully, these ridiculous sunsets and stuff that would happen,
which is mad in an open world where you could be anywhere at any given time.
It's just incredibly well created, and just little things. And these are the little things that were throughout Grand Theft Auto universe. Like when you would stumble across a really rare car, for example, the excitement, one of them, it was I can't remember what it was called, but I think it was called the Coil, which was based on the Tesla Roadster, the old Tesla Roadster, which you got into that, and it just was fucking insanely fast, accelerated ridiculously fast.
With no sound.
Yeah, exactly. And just little things like that when you stumbled across those things was just really, really exciting. And like you were really enjoying going on, oh, I've got this great mission. I'm really looking forward to the second part of this mission. And then you suddenly stumble across a really fun car or an amazing like rocket launcher or a weapon. Or oh no, I can't do this. I've got to blow these people up. Oh, fuck. Oh no. And there's everything. And I love that simplicity of it that you can go. And I know lots of games have copied this, and nobody's ever managed to get it right. So it, as well as Grand Theft Auto games do. Just the fact that if you want to go off and do story, or you want to go off and do side missions, or you want to go off and like collect some extras and find some of the other kind of little weird little things that are going on around, like the alien things, like collecting the alien artifacts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of those little things you can do. Or if you want, you can just load it up, take the car out, drive into the middle of the city, get your gun out and go on a bit of a rampage and just kill some folk and just smash them up. And it's just what would be wonderful if they can start getting some more environmental damage and destruction into those games. Because I mean, there's a lot of that with like trees and lampposts and stuff like that. Yeah. They can start doing that to like buildings and windows.
You want to see a
stuff.
building go down.
That would be fucking cool.
But yeah, so anyway, I won't go on about it because I'm sure we'll probably get another chance to talk about it later on in the tournament. But Grand Theft Auto 5 is going through.
Right. Matt, what is left on the docket?
The last one is the big one. It's Fortnite versus Overwatch.
Fortnite? Well,
who's
giggity
me
goes?
first.
Oh, it's yours.
Now, I shouldn't struggle with this. I have played like 350 hours of Overwatch.
Yeah.
I adored that game, and I was thinking about this earlier, and I was going, would I vote against Overwatch? And I don't know if I will. I still don't know where I'm going to go with this, but I was thinking, and I was going, Fortnite. I have never got angry playing Fortnite. In terms of, I never feel that it's unfair. It feels like everyone's on a level playing field.
Yeah, to an extent, I suppose.
And Overwatch has got me so angry at times in terms of... I broke a controller because I got so angry. I genuinely did. And the problem with that is that there were significant problems with the game, mainly due to competitive mode. And that was something that they've never addressed. And it frustrates me that... with that team-based shooter, they've decided to focus on what the pro scene wants rather than what the day-to-day
in the
people.
In the end, I think.
However, 350 hours of absolute delight. Those characters are amazing. Whereas, like, Fortnite doesn't have that same characterization in terms of you don't go, I love D.Va, I love Winston. Sure. I've got to give it to Overwatch, but I do have to say that Overwatch, the more I think about it, the more I think about how it could have been better.
Yeah.
And it could have lasted longer.
I think part of that is because whenever you are... It's like when you work somewhere, right? When you first go, everything's great and you really enjoy all the good things. But as you learn more and more and more, you see all the bad shit. And then over a period of time, if you work somewhere for 20 years, you only see the bad shit.
Yes.
Right? And I think a lot of that is how I feel about Overwatch, because... It is one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, indeed.
And we've all invested shitloads of time in it. We've had some amazing moments. I'm really glad that we managed to record a lot of the moments that we had. Yeah. The moment where we won that game on the Greek map with the well, and we came back and won that game. Honestly, that's one of my favourite fucking moments of all time. It was incredible. It was outrageous. And when we won that game, I literally couldn't believe it. I was so happy.
It was,
and it was such a great moment. It was like watching my team score a massive goal in like an FA Cup final or something. And it was incredible. I couldn't believe a video game could do that, let alone an online competitive video game.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why Overwatch has got to get my vote, because Fortnite, when you win, it feels amazing, but when you lose, it doesn't feel as bad. Whereas the emotional range that you get with Overwatch, from like absolutely devastated over some losses to the elation we felt at certain wins. I mean, I remember me and you being quite drunk and doing that. What was it? you were Tracer, and I was.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was Sombra, and we just decided while we were doing it, right, okay, we'll just go over the top, just like zoom in behind it and take the point, and like literally did it, and it was just like, oh my god, we planned something
on Anubis. It was so good.
And at Anubis, honestly, what a great map. But a lot of the stuff they've added in, I haven't liked as much. They've never sorted out the competitive scene, but Jesus, 350 hours of just absolutely glorious. Yeah, it's going Overwatch.
Nice.
Andrew.
So, it's really interesting that these two games came along kind of side by side. That just as we were we were already sort of kind of getting a little bit, kind
two
of,
and a bit years later,
of Overwatch. That Fortnite, we just stumbled across it, and we stumbled across it before it was this gigantic kind of thing, and it is, and so. It's really good to be able to compare them directly side by side because they become a massive part of our video gaming lives, like one after the other. Yeah. Fortnite is an absolutely astonishing achievement that they have created something that is so fucking enormous. It is everywhere. There was a celebration in the World Cup final that was based on Fortnite. This game has extended its tendrils into every single corner of the planet, and it is enormous everywhere. I know 8-year-old kids who know all of the dances. They've not played the game, but they know all of the dances. They've watched hours and hours of it on YouTube, and they absolutely adore it. It's a phenomenal achievement of a video game. Granted, they've nicked the game mode from somebody else.
You
look like you're about to say something, Matt.
I am. However, they may have done that, but if this was Overwatch against PUBG, we would not be having a very long conversation.
No, we would not.
And Battle Royale modes were around before PUBG as well.
And in the same way that just because you were the first one in the game doesn't mean that your version of that game is the best.
Well, and also Overwatch nicked the
Hero
Team Fortress,
Team Fortress and stuff like that. So, But granted it did that, but at the same time it has created a game which is phenomenally good fun. And I remember first starting to play it, go, God almighty, this is difficult. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to have the wherewithal to continue. But then you pick up your first win.
Yeah.
And you pick up your first win and you think, I've killed someone.
It's just winnable enough, isn't it?
In fact, actually winding back before that, you get your first kill. I've killed someone, finally, I've killed somebody. And then you still kill 2 people in the game and it feels amazing. Then you get that win. And so all of that is so well geared up, and I think what they've done to continue keeping the game interesting, to keep the game ticking over and make it stay enjoyable, keep people interested, is really, really, really well achieved. I think they've done a cracking job with that. I think it's a really wonderfully executed game. It is as much fun as I've had nearly with any game ever. But Overwatch, there's something about, and going back to what you guys were saying about the wins. So obviously wins come along more in Overwatch, but when they happen well, like you're saying that particular game that when we played it in the well on the Ilios, and a bunch of other ones where you just win is a greater sense of satisfaction that I've ever got from any other video game. They are wonderful in Fortnite, but they have decreased in excitement each time they've happened. Because the first couple of times they happen, it's holy shit! What have we won? We've won! Oh my god! But then as they go on, they're slightly less because it's slightly less of achievement to the point where there are people who have won so many games that they're actually disappointed when they don't win. Whereas with Overwatch, it doesn't matter how many games you win, you can still suddenly get a situation where a win is the greatest thing that has ever happened, just because of the tension, the way the game plays out, and all of those things.
I think the opportunity for shenanigans as well in Overwatch was greater in terms of Fortnite. I caught him in the corner, I built around it. Like Overwatch, some of the videos we have, like I've got one where I'm just playing Lucio and all I'm doing is harassing the the piggy from the other side.
Yeah.
And literally over the 3 maps, I just make his life absolutely hell. And I watched that the other day, and it just made me grin. It really
That's
did.
brilliant.
And it's stuff like that, where it's just like a great play of the game where you take out like 6 players, but through some sort of completely lucky thing. And
Yeah.
it's just that sort of thing is amazing.
That is nice.
Here we go.
I seem to remember us getting really excited.
Yeah.
Yes! We get it! Oh my goodness!
So,
That is unfucking believable.
Si, you need to put a link to that video on the
Oh
podcast.
my goodness!
Yeah, that was quite something. That was quite something.
It was an incredible moment. We and just on a slightly like personal note, which to be fair is unfair to give it as an advantage to Overwatch, but like I was going through a pretty shit time at that point when we were playing Overwatch, and going back home and jumping online and playing with you guys. We first started playing together on The Division, but when we really kind of started playing online together was in Overwatch,
Yeah.
and that is an unfair advantage to Overwatch. It just happens to be when it came along, but it was a wonderful fucking escape, and it was so much fun, so much joy, so much. Admittedly, there were occasions where we come on and we just have a really bad time of
Yes.
it.
Yeah,
we just spend
yeah.
an evening and you just have bad game after bad game.
You could tell someone would drop and then everyone would drop. So.
And then other times you would have it like just everything went your way, and you had like a wonderful evening of playing a really amazing game. It's beautifully executed. The difficulty that they must have balancing that in game and keeping that game balance is astonishing.
Yeah.
The subtlety, the levels of subtlety in the interaction between the different players and the balance between the different players is absolutely incredible. I genuinely think it is such a difficult thing to get right, and I think they got it more or less on the whole right for most of the time. They have had problems with the game, but none of those things can possibly mar the sheer enjoyment and the sheer insane number of hours that I have plowed into that game over the last 2.5-3 years. I think Overwatch is is close to a masterpiece. I love it.
Yeah.
And as much as Fortnite is wonderful fun, the goal's got to go to Overwatch.
Well, I don't get a say in this one.
You get a say, it just doesn't count.
No, but it doesn't matter, because I would have obviously voted for Overwatch anyway. Because I don't need to say anymore. It is fantastic. We had some amazing times with it. The characters are brilliantly done. I love the fact that there's lore and a backstory behind all these characters that are basically just avatars with abilities, but they give them all these backstory, which just makes it more interesting to play. It helps you not only play with the meta, but you want to play because of the characters that are in there, which is really cool. I think the game evolved in interesting ways. Are not always good, but they're always really committed to trying to make it better, which I think is cool. I think there's massive problems with the competitive mode that made it at certain points unplayable for me.
I agree.
But because the quick play mode was also highly competitive, and there wasn't much fuck aroundery in it, it was still really great to play quick play.
To the point,
a winning quick play is just as satisfying as a winning competitive.
to the point where for the first probably 100 hours we were playing it, we didn't even go in anywhere near competitive.
No.
We played quick play. It was still massively satisfying.
And that was back when quick play was, you could have multiples of the same character.
Yeah, you're right.
Which
Yeah,
I still
right,
maintain is the most fun mode.
Yeah, that
It's
was cool. I like
you know,
it when they bring those other modes in.
Six Torbjorns is always funny.
Sadly, like all good things, they have to come to an end, and Overwatch has come to an end, I think, for a lot of players. Just like a lot of Blizzard stuff, like a lot of online stuff, the meta becomes bigger than the game itself, and it ends up crushing it.
One of the good things around this, though, is Blizzard are involved, but it's not a huge cash cow. They have done free updates on this, and the only thing you pay for is the cosmetic stuff.
I bought the occasional loot box, but I didn't put a lot of money into it.
And that was because I felt that they deserved my money because of the joy they give me. But Blizzard are known for milking cash cows. Like Hearthstone is just like the biggest example of that. World of Warcraft, they will just try and get as much money out of people as possible. They are not a particularly nice company, but the Overwatch devs seem like nice people.
Yeah. Right then, lads, let us get the fudge on.
Let's get the
because
fudge on. We have.
We've been chatting for an hour about these
Right,
fantastic
we've
games.
got 3 more matches.
But we've spoken now
Are we going to
in
speed run
great
them?
detail about these games, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't think we need to wax lyrical
Nope.
necessarily about these games
Okay.
now. And this is pure results business.
Pure
Okay.
results. Okay.
And so I think we need to be tough with ourselves
Yes.
and tough with these games.
Okay.
And
Well,
find ourselves a World Cup of Games winner.
okay, so we're moving into the semi-finals. I'm glad Andy's going first on this one.
I think we should take a little. Let's take a little break. I
Okay.
think we should take a little. Everybody needs a break.
take a
Nice. Good
Let's
times.
take a little break and then
Right.
we'll come back with the
Okay,
semi-finals.
everyone's had a drink. Just calm it down. just leave him, Andy. He's not worth it.
That's right. And we will be back in just one very quick moment. Righty-roo. We are back for the semi-finals.
Right. What we have is, luckily, Andy's going first, and it's Uncharted 2 versus Skyrim.
What? Didn't we have that last time? I'm confused. No, we had Shadow of the Colossus, didn't we?
Yeah. Uncharted 2 beat Street Fighter 2.
Yes.
So Uncharted 2 versus Skyrim. Neither of these are big favourites of mine. Both are all right.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's funny that we got to the semi-final and not that fussed about them, really. So I'm going to make this pretty straightforward for me because it's
Yeah.
a much bigger and much better game. It's going to go to Skyrim for me for the first goal.
Skyrim 2-0. It's through to the final. It's only through to the fucking final.
Okay.
Constellation goal for Uncharted. I just realised that we just put that out just like that.
Yeah, we
Just
did.
like that.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't
like
matter.
We're just having fun. It's all for fun.
Uncharted 2 is my favourite game, but Skyrim as a game is just incredible.
Are you about to do this?
Yeah, I'm going to 3-0.
Holy shit in a basket.
Well, no, it's just it's going back to that whole thing. It's like I think how I felt at the time I was playing it. Uncharted 2 was an intense shot of coffee, whereas Skyrim was a slap-up meal every day for like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, very
So,
nice.
In that break, you just said that you weren't very good at metaphors, but that is a fucking brilliant metaphor.
That was a good metaphor.
and therefore, I think as it's more fulfilling, I think Skyrim is probably
Get
the way
in.
stuff,
Look
lovely
at that
stuff.
Skyrim. A clean sweep through the semi-final and into the final. And it will face one of these 2 games.
which is Grand Theft Auto 5 versus Overwatch.
Oh shit!
Yeah, this is a tough one, isn't
Why
it?
couldn't?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
The other way around would have been a lot easier.
Well, yeah, I think we might have ended up with something like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Am I starting this?
You are.
Bloody
Good luck.
hell. I don't know.
No,
No,
I
know.
don't.
I don't know. I don't know how to. They're so different. That's the problem with these two. I'm not going to talk about the individual merits of the games because
No,
we've done all
we've
that
done
before.
that a lot.
But what I'm going to talk about is the difference between the two and how can you pick? They're so different. You need both. Basically, you need both in your catalogue.
They're
don't
not
you?
both going through.
I realise that. Yeah. Shit balls.
Do you want to toss a coin?
I played GTA through twice. I must have spent hundreds of hours playing it. I did like every side mission, and sometimes I would just play it and just drive around like an idiot.
Yeah.
And like ride a bike from the mountain to the airport just because I could, and then see if I could steal a plane without being shot down by a bunch of idiots. But then Overwatch, I would just log on and just play. But it had the advantage of playing with other people, which is, I suppose, a bonus. But then again, it's great having a single player campaign, isn't it? Who knows?
Well,
What are you supposed to do?
You need to know.
Fuck.
What did we just put through on the other side?
Skyrim.
I'm going to give a goal to Overwatch. Only because my only thing there is that Skyrim and GTA are actually quite similar,
Yeah.
and just for the sake of of not having to deal with GTA versus Skyrim in the final,
So not
I'm
having
putting through Overwatch.
two massive
Exactly.
open world games against
Yes.
each other in the final.
Yeah,
Now, I could make Andy's life really easy
You
by
could.
voting for the game that I was going to vote for.
You bastard!
so I was going to vote for Overwatch because I liked Grand Theft Auto 5, but Overwatch I absolutely adored.
yeah.
But I'm going to give a vote to Grand Theft Auto 5 because then Andy has to put one of his favourite games out of the competition.
I love it.
Absolute bullshit.
I love it.
I hate you.
That is fine work.
Andy, which one of your children do you want to throw in the river?
Hell.
That's really
Like you
good.
don't, you're not even that big a fan of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Andy, while you're making this
would be
big
a-
decision, could you put the Overwatch theme tune on? Just
It would be a solid 7 out of 5 compared to a 9.9 for me. But
7 out of 5. That is a fucking good score. I mean, that is excellent. Let's be honest.
yeah, I meant 7.5, but 9.9 out of 2.
Oh, Andy.
So this is actually airing it towards.
I know,
yeah,
right? This is artificially
If
twisting.
you started playing Kanye West again, he's going to go to Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
This is fun. I'm glad.
Now I
did
think
this.
about it, maybe that Kanye West song was in GTA 4 as well.
I don't know, but none of them were as good as the soundtrack of Vice City.
Yeah, very
Like,
true. Yeah.
Cutting Crew, Died in Your Arms Tonight. What a tune!
Right, go on, you can cut that off.
I know what I'm going to do
Go on, do it.
because of this tactical bullshit
Yeah,
Oh, dear.
yeah.
to try and kind of like make my life misery.
Yeah.
You're going to make Si's life a misery.
You're going to abstain from
no,
voting.
no, he's going to make your life a misery by putting through.
I can live with
Oh
it.
no, or he might make my life a misery.
Yeah, exactly. It's better
I'm
than
looking
winning.
at that final
Yeah.
because
You can make my life difficult, or you can make Si's life difficult.
I'm
I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
I can handle it.
I am going to put through into the final of the World Cup of video games.
Yeah.
One of my favourite games.
Oh,
from
good.
We know
recent
because
years.
they're
We
both,
know, they're both there.
in there.
And that is Overwatch.
Whoa!
Ouch!
I was not expecting that. I thought he was going to go GTA. There you
Well,
have it.
and to be honest with you, if I probably weight of the balance of probability,
Yeah.
probably just about prefer Grand Theft Auto 5. But
You wanted to see
the only way that Skyrim is going to get beat is if it's up against a game that Matt absolutely adores.
Oh, that is very good tactical voting.
Okay.
Who's going first on the next one, by the way?
in fairness, though,
Who's going first on the next one?
I either voted for Grand Theft Auto to make you choose, or I
shit,
voted
I've
for
been
Overwatch,
had!
and it went through anyway. So
Aren't you going first on this one? So he's getting the casting vote for the final.
I've already decided.
Right, so Matt, tell us who's in the final.
Right, the final is, and this is a good final. This is
Yeah.
Skyrim versus Overwatch.
Jesus Christ.
So am I going first?
Is it Andy? Who did you
No,
go-
because I had the casting vote on the last one.
Yeah.
So
And we're going anti-clockwise.
So it must be me.
What's
yeah, so you, me, Si.
And
So
I
you're-
get the
you
casting vote.
Unless
No,
unless
no,
it's
unless
done and
it's a
dusted
2-0, yeah.
before there.
Matt,
Right.
come on, do it.
Okay.
Let's get this done.
No, instantly. The more I talk about this game, the more I am thinking it should supplant my Uncharted 2 obsession. with
Catchphrase.
yeah, yeah. And Skyrim, like.
on Skyrim.
I mean, both games are incredible, but Skyrim.
Oh,
God,
I'm in
like,
for some
you know,
trouble here, aren't I?
It just gives me like
is
the
fucking
immersion.
brilliant.
It lets me lose myself. And Andy talked a bit about like when you're going through a bad time and things.
Yeah.
Like I played Skyrim. I recently had some sort of social things, and Skyrim. I got lost in that world, and it just made me feel better. So yeah.
Cannot argue with that.
Well, you are clearly going to.
No,
argue
but
with
it's
that,
quite straightforward for me because I thought Skyrim's all right, pretty good. Appreciate what you've done, but it's nothing like Overwatch. So for me, it's very straightforward. It's a goal for Overwatch, which means
Oh
Si.
no!
But
Like-
think of this: you get to choose
Idiot
what
game.
The
is
winner of the
wi-
World
yeah.
Cup of Games.
And the best thing is, I will not be disappointed with what you do because both of these games are amazing. Andy might be, but I'm not. I'm clearly not.
Bloody hell! I feel a bit of pressure now. To be
Can
perfectly
I
honest.
can I make a case for the defence?
No.
No, it's none of that.
Fuzz Rodar.
No, come on, stop.
Frodo.
Yeah, you bunch of nerds.
Yeah. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, we've got this far, haven't we? I think we should all.
We
We
call
should
it a
all give
draw.
us no.
We
We should
call
all
it
give
even.
ourselves a little round of applause.
Yeah.
I think we've done very well. I think all the games have done very well for
Oh
themselves
yeah, yeah.
as well.
Well, there were some fine games in there.
There were some fine games. I mean, we couldn't get this wrong. Really, that was the beauty of the World Cup of Games.
No, and it's our opinion, so it's fine.
That is true, and it's a combined opinion of three people that has brought us to this final.
Yeah.
One of whom doesn't give a shit about one of the games in the final. so we've done something wrong somewhere.
It was always going to
Hey,
happen
look,
one way.
this
or
is a
another.
knockout competition.
That is
This
true.
not-
Anything can happen.
This
anything can happen. But Spyro didn't make its way into the final. Did it?
Spyro did not.
No. Well, I know what I'm going to do.
Are you just going to build drum roll, and then just say it?
I know exactly what I'm going to vote for,
Okay.
and it's a very, very good game.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. This narrows
Oh God,
it down.
this is like the fucking end of like that singing program on
X
telly,
Factor.
X Factor,
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
right.
just like,
Dermot Wass's chop
Yeah.
stands there for 10 minutes and like
and they go, and the winner.
There's just like a
and
beat in the background.
And then they open
Dum,
the
dum.
envelope, and then he opens it, and he goes, "Oh, it's a very interesting close call between the two finalists, who are Overwatch and
Wow.
Skyrim." And Skyrim has done very well to get this one, as has
What
Overwatch.
it should do, really, though, is it should cut away to like a picture of Overwatch telling a story about how it had a hard life,
Yeah.
with a little bit of Coldplay underneath.
Yeah. and then cut to an ad break.
Yeah.
Yes.
and then it comes back, and Skyrim talks about how it lost its leg in the war on crime, the war on terror, and it's never been the same since. And that winning this competition is its one true dream.
Right.
Who's gonna win?
Yeah, we've done that to death. One Bro Speedrunners, Noobs and Elites. The winner of the World Cup of Games is Overwatch!
Yes.
And there you have it.
A worthy winner.
A worthy winner.
Joe,
Well done, Overwatch.
I'm delighted. I didn't think I would be.
Should we send a tweet to Jeff Kaplan and
We
see
should
what
do,
he has to say
yeah.
for that?
Yeah. I would say that if I was to put money on which game we were going to, because we all love it, I thought Overwatch might win this, but it was a lot closer. There were times when I thought that might go out. I almost voted for Fortnite, and
Yeah.
it was
Well,
yeah.
This is how it goes. Well done, gents. I hope everybody enjoyed the World Cup of Games. That's the end of that fucking chapter.
That was great, wasn't it?
That was good
It was
fun.
a nice little sojourn into the World Cup world.
For the next episode, you've got to write a quiz again.
I know we got back to regular content, back to regular
everyone's
features
gonna
next
hate
week.
that.
I know it's going to suck. So my challenge to you is to go and play some video games,
I've been
and then we
doing
can
that.
talk about
I've-
them.
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of that.
Yeah.
Right then, Andy, cue us up here because I think we're coming towards the end of the show. It's been a fantastic effort, guys, with World Cup of Games. Everybody can catch us on idiot_gamer on Twitter. You can email us at idiotgamer@gmail.com. You can go to idiotgamer.co.uk. You can do all of those other things. But finally, I will ask you, Andy, to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Matt Angel.
Au revoir.
And say goodbye, Cy Hawkins. See you laters.